Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Friday. Hey, baby, how's it going?
Super, how are you?
Fabulous. Take a listen to this. We've got Deke from Tiny Houses on HGTV and Extremely Small Spaces. He's going to be on our program today. For those of you who watch HGTV, I can't even speak, HGTV, there's a program that features these tiny houses that people, for whatever reason, that's been a big thing the last couple of years. People taking these, building these tiny little houses. Some use them for like guest rooms. I've seen some where they turn them into offices. Anyway, the star of that show, one of the stars of that show, Deke, if you watch the show, his real name is Dietrichson, and he's got a book called Microshelters. We're going to be chatting with him about his book, and I'll ask him a little bit about the program,
It's a pretty cool book, too.
It is. I've got it here. It is a really cool book. Also, the average Alaskan eats twice as much ice cream as residents in any other state. That seems kind of weird, doesn't it? In Alaska, you'd think that it would be too cold to eat ice cream, but they eat twice as much ice cream as residents of any other state in Alaska. Someone explain that to me if you could. Coming up, we get a lot of fun stuff. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
A Kern County, California couple, that's hard to say.
Yeah, it is.
Kern County, California couple were ticketed for jaywalking because one of their chickens allegedly impeded traffic by wandering onto the highway. So in Kern County, California, this couple had a chicken that got out of its coop, and it crisscrossed the highway in Kern County, California, and the couple had the cops come and ticket them. I couldn't think of a C word for that. I was on a roll. I had quite a few of them going there. Yeah, Kern County, California couple ticketed for their chicken jaywalking.
This is ridiculous.
So why is it that they're getting a ticket for jaywalking if it was their chicken that crossed the road? And I know that would have been the easy joke. I went with a tongue twister instead. So why did the chicken cross the road? Apparently so that owners would get a ticket? I don't know. I have no idea.
That's so lame.
I know. Hey, coming up, we're going to head to Chicago and talk about bottlenose dolphins. That story on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVWheelator.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVWheelator.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. When I think of dolphins, first city that comes to mind, Chicago.
Not so much.
Oh, yeah, that's probably not the case. Well, a team of Chicago zoologists saved a bottlenose dolphin that was nearly killed by a Speedo. The dolphin, nicknamed Scrappy, must have found a man's swimming suit floating in Florida's Sarasota Bay, and his head and torso were stuck in the waist and the leg hole. It says here it was so tight it could have severed an artery.
Severed.
That's probably what it should have said. Could have severed an artery, not severed one. You ever say something and know you're wrong? Ready to mutter the words?
This is where our daughter gets her reading skills from.
After several days of monitoring the dolphin, the suit was still stuck, so they had to catch Scrappy and send in a de-pantsing team to remove his shorts.
Okay, now, did you say this dolphin was in Chicago?
It was a team of zoologists from Chicago that were sent there. Then they had to release him naked and free back into the Florida Sarasota Bay.
Okay, I was going to say, how did this dolphin end up in Chicago?
This
Speedo might have been the least of his worries.
He was on tour. He was looking for the Oprah show. Don't you guys do that here anymore? What's going on? Spokesperson said, it shows that Speedos can be a threat to more than just good taste. So, Scrappy...
You wear a Speedo.
What? No, I don't.
I know.
I didn't even want that image in my mind. Scrappy, the bottlenose dolphin, was saved. Like I said, it was a team of zoologists from Chicago. You would think there would be zoologists on hand in Florida that could have done this. Why would they have to have a crack team of Chicago zoologists work on this?
I don't know.
Again, it's probably because when you think of dolphins, you think Chicago. You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Coming up later in the program, we have Deke from Tiny Houses from the HGTV program. He's got a new book called Microshelters. Deke Dietrichson coming your way in just a bit on The John and Heidi Show.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. A man helps a friend by paying a fine for him, but then he ends up in jail too. This happened in Wilmington, North Carolina. Jermel Caldwell was heading down to the courthouse to pay a fine for a friend, but he freaked out when he rounded a corner inside the building and came face to face with a metal detector. Nervously, he told the deputies, I got to go to the car. Unfortunately for him, the deputies decided, I think it's time for maybe a little search here.
Yeah.
They discovered 14 bags of marijuana and 10 bags of heroin in his pockets. He had a chance to reunite with his friend. They're both in jail now, so there you go.
Would that have shown up on a metal detector?
Oh, I don't know if it was a metal detector, if it was a scanner, like a thing that, I don't know how it works. I have no idea. Maybe he had a gun too. I have no idea. I don't know why he was afraid, but he decided he didn't.
Why would he have gone in there with that?
Here's
anyway?
why. Because when you go through those things, you need to empty your pockets.
Oh,
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've gone through, and you have to empty your pockets. So I'm sure that's why. Anyway, that's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Now your moment of duh. You ever wonder why our public education system is such a mess? I've got a clue. Some of the people working in the system, they ain't so educated themselves, Heidi.
Edumacated?
They ain't so educated. I know ain't a word. You should have pointed that out, but you didn't. Well, 2002's edition of the Washington, D.C. Public School System Standardized Test Guide for Elementary Students was riddled with typos and errors. So they made a very conscious effort to get it all fixed for the perfect 2003 test. Well, it came out just as bad. For example, one question asked students taking the test to count an image of 9 flowers. But the only multiple choice answer was numbers. All of the numbers happen to be between 22 and 30. There were only 9 flowers. How many flowers are in this image? Let us know the answer. And there was 22, 26, 28, 30. And there were only 9. So, none of these are right. Am I not seeing this image right? No, you're seeing it absolutely right. It's just wrong. That's all. So there's your moment of duh. We've got your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. We're going to start in Evansville, Indiana. An 84-year-old man there is facing battery charges after police say he dumped a bowl filled with urine over the head of a teenage boy.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
Yeah, that is. Charles Weatherford was arrested after he reportedly got into an argument with a 13-year-old over some smashed bricks on his property. And he thought the answer was, I'm going to dump this bowl of pee on your head.
Why would he have had a bowl of pee handy anyway?
I don't know. I don't really think there's a good reason for having that.
I don't think so.
He just happened to have one. I wonder if Charlie has one. We should ask him next Tuesday. All right, after picking up a latte from a Phoenix Starbucks, Kim Dillon said she almost swallowed a legless lizard that was in her drink. She experienced...
Legless lizard? Isn't that a snake?
I kind of think so. She says the experience still disturbs her. She says it was so gross knowing that thing was in my mouth. So she had a snake in her mouth. Why wouldn't they just say it's a snake? Is there a thing called a legless lizard?
I have no idea.
Sounds like a snake to me. This is a lizard. No, there's no legs. It's a snake. No. This is a legless lizard. Special lizard. And they love coffee, apparently. So, a 249-foot slide will take its place as the world's longest slide, Heidi. A team of architects have finished a design with a slide which will wrap around a massive sculpture originally built for the 2012 Olympic Games. Once it's operational in 2016, riders will pay $8 for a ride down the slide. How long do you suppose it'll take to ride the world's longest slide from top to bottom?
2 minutes.
No, 40 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah. Kind of a letdown.
Not worth $8.
$8. 40 seconds later. That's all?
Huh.
There's a joke here. I'm going to just move on. New York City police say they found a loaded gun inside a hollowed-out lockbox that looked like a Bible. They did this during a traffic stop. Officers made the discovery in Brooklyn after pulling over a car that had windows that were tinted too dark. They say they searched the car when they smelled the odor of marijuana, and they found an open alcohol container and a knife.
Oh, my
The driver and
goodness.
2 passengers were charged with weapon and marijuana possession, and they had a box that looked like a Bible that had a gun inside of it. Interesting. There
Were
goes
they not
my-
supposed to have a weapon?
I don't know. It was, if they don't have a concealed weapons permit, they shouldn't have had it concealed like that. I don't even know if you can have a concealed weapon in the city of New York. So that could be the problem. Moving on. The best studies are the ones that tell us we're not alone. A survey from the international conference call company Intercall finds that when you occasionally zone out on conference calls, you're participating in a national pastime. More than 60% of people who were surveyed said that they admit that during conference calls, they do other things. So they're on a conference call, they got on speakerphone over here, and meanwhile they're cleaning their desk
Well,
and they're
of
doing their
course.
emails. And I have to admit,
I know, I've watched you.
I am part of the 60%.
I just try not to do conference calls.
Here's what's really embarrassing. When you have the phone muted so you can be doing all your stuff, and they say, so what do you think about that, John? You're like, oh, whoa, quiet, everybody. And you have to hit the button. You're like, yeah, that sounds really good to me. Click, and I'm like, I have no idea what I just said. It was
I'll
good.
let everybody else do the conference call, and then they can text me the gist of the conference call.
When you're done with your conference call, could you do a summary and let me know
just shoot
what
me
happened?
a text and say, this is what we talked about.
Pretty much, and we can fit it all in one little text. All right, our strange law for today from Hartford, Connecticut. It is illegal to kiss your wife on a Sunday in Hartford, Connecticut.
Ah.
But a lot of folks break the law there. I would, every Sunday. I give you a smooch every morning.
Yes, you do.
I do.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to do.
It
More men
is.
should give their wives a kiss every morning.
I agree.
Not my wife, your wife. You stay away from my wife. I got mine, you get your own. All right, that's your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for joining us on a Friday. We appreciate you listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us right now. He's one of the stars of Tiny House Builders from HGTV, and he's known for building these awesome, cool little houses. His name is Dietrichson, but you watch him on TV, you probably know him as Deke. Deke, thanks for joining us today. How you doing?
I'm all right, John. I'm doing fantastic, in fact. I'm overly caffeinated, so feeling good.
A little caffeine can help you get through just about anything, especially an interview with me. I've got a fun book here in front of me that you put out. It's called Microshelters. Now, the thing that's neat, as you flip through here, there's a lot of images of these tiny houses that you've built, and there's like blueprints and designs. It's a good-looking book. You've done a great job on this thing, man.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it took forever to put that together, and so far the response has been like incredible, like beyond what I expected. So I'm really thrilled. And it took a long time to travel and collect all those photos. Most of them are by me, but it was a lot of fun at the same time.
So in the book, we see 59 microshelters. How long have you been working on microshelters and tiny houses overall?
Since 1987 or 88, when I started getting a little more serious about it and started building things that I put insulation into, electricity and all that. It all kind of fired off with being inspired by I always was building. My father, Glenn, was a woodworking teacher. My mother, crafty too. But this book, Tiny Houses by Lester Walker, came out in 86, 87, and I was gifted it for my 10th birthday, and it still holds up. It's such a cool book.
Well, the book that you got as a child, that came out about 30 years ago or so. But the crazy thing is, the last 5 or 10 years, tiny homes and microshelters have been extremely popular. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of reasons. I would spend you use up a lot of your time if I mentioned all of them. But to cut to it, a lot of people want to be using their hands again because, like, with technology, just being overly inundated with it, they've lost touch with that. Everything's computerized drafting, CNC routed with machines. You can build a house with a computer now. People want to go back to using their hands because otherwise their life is so technologically just overwhelming. There's the environmental side of things. A tiny house is cheap. Well, it's easier to afford, easier to maintain, heat, cool, furnish. It goes on on and on. So there's the money side of things, and environmental, I guess those both tie in together. But yeah, people coming out of college now, if the job seems not so great, instead of throwing money into a traditional house that might not suit them, because there's not many tiny houses out there if you're single but want to own a home, why not build one on the cheap where later you could sell it and you're not just throwing your money into that rental hole.
There you go. Again, we're visiting with Deke. He's the author of Microshelters. You also might know him from Tiny House Builders on HGTV. Now, Deke, my wife and I were looking through this book, and she said that would be a cool idea for a guest home. Do you see quite a few people do that where they're building these microshelters like as a guest home, or what are other things they do with them?
Oh, certainly, yeah. We've done some for people, too. We've done tree houses with streams flowing under them with glass floors, and we've done crazy stuff. And you see people who want that really cool guest home, so when people come over, they're wowed and, by the stay. I say don't make it so cool where people want to visit you all the time, because that might get annoying after a while. The mother-in-law unexpectedly stops by and wants to crash all the time. But people are doing it for guest homes, backyard offices, hobby spaces. We've done a lot of tree house offices for people around the greater Boston area, too. That's becoming pretty popular. I'm doing, not for an office, but I'm doing a tree house right now for a police officer in a town a couple away from me. So those have been a busy part of our repertoire, if you will.
Now, let's talk about your book, Microshelters. It's more than just a coffee table book. This is a really cool book. It has photos in it, but it also has plans and ideas and all kinds of great resources. Where can I find a copy of the book, Microshelters?
Yeah, Microshelters is pretty much everywhere at this point. I hear it's going to be in Lowe's coming up. That's what I've been told. Little birdie told me that. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that yet. I don't know. But Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, the big chain stores, the little mom-and-pop stores, a lot of them are carrying it, too, which is fantastic because those are my favorite kind of bookstores. Make sure you check them out, support them as well. They're a dying breed. I'm doing a whole book tour in the northwest corner, too, in a couple of weeks. So I'm hitting some, legendary bookstores, which will be fun. But it's pretty much everywhere. If you can't find it, RelaxShacks.com is my site. Email me through that, and I'll find a way to get you a copy somehow, I suppose.
Well, Deke, thanks again for taking time to chat with us about your book. Now, in addition to the program that you did on HGTV, you're doing some online video stuff now as well, right?
Yeah, and then I have a channel on YouTube, Relax Shack, spelled out DOT.com, which has 230-something video tours of tiny houses around the U.S. and all the stuff I've built, and you can check that out as well. It's cooler than the HGTV show was, dare I say.
Well, I'm going to have to check that out. I thought the TV show was pretty cool, too. The book is called Microshelters. Deke, we wish you the very best on that. Thank you for chatting with us.
Hey, thank you so much.
We've been visiting with Derek Dietrichson, a star of Tiny House Builders from HGTV, and he's got the new book called Microshelters. Buy that wherever you like to buy your books. It's available on the online stores as well. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Man, I thought you'd never ask. It's a big day. Today is first of all, it's Friday, September 25th. Bright Pink Lipstick Day, Math Storytelling Day, National One-Hit Wonder Day, National Psychotherapy Day, Vegan Baking Day. What else is it? World Pharmacist Day. Give your pharmacist a big hug today. It's also Hug a Vegetarian Day. And if you don't know any vegetarians, that's going to be tough. And if you do know vegetarians, you know they're vegetarian because they're very proud to tell you that. Every vegetarian
yes, if
I
you know a vegetarian, trust me, you know.
I know,
that
so
you
give
know
them a hug
vegetarian.
today. Don't squeeze too hard, though. They're very delicate. It's also Love Note Day and Save the Koala Day. So all of those things. So how are you going to celebrate? I'm going to
celebrate by eating some meat.
I was going to say the same thing. Oh, and you know what? If you are a vegetarian, I think that's a great choice. No. Honestly, that's a great choice if that's what you've chosen to do. Just not what I've chosen to do. So Vegan Baking Day and Hug a Vegetarian Day all on the same day. I wonder if that's a coincidence. Probably not. All right, coming up here in a bit. Got fat? Well, don't drink the milk. We'll tell you all about that in a moment.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
While children are urged to drink plenty of milk, a new study suggests that the more milk your kids drink, the fatter they get. Surprisingly, skim milk is worse than whole milk. A new survey of more than... What are you laughing about?
Oh, you're just loving this study.
I am loving that. Look what I'm drinking over here. What do I have? I stopped at a gas station. I got a jug of milk. Oh, here it is.
I cannot drink whole milk.
Oh, it's whole milk.
It's like drinking paint.
It is pretty thick. Thick and creamy. Where was I? Oh, yeah. In a survey of more than 12,000 children aged 9 to 14 showed that those who drank more milk weighed more than those who drank less milk. Researchers now say kids' basic beverage should be water. And they note that in many parts of the world, kids don't drink any milk at all, and they end up with healthy bones. As far as getting calcium, leafy green veggies have that and other nutrients as well. And they're low in calories. So they're saying milk, it does the body good. Well, that's not what they're saying according to this story. When I was a kid, that was the deal. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Does the body good.
Drink milk. Yep.
I got that message. I drink a lot of milk. And look at me, Heidi. Look at how healthy I am.
You're very healthy.
I can blame this on milk now as well. So there you go. I can blame it on a lot of things. I absolutely love milk.
I know. I do too.
Really
I like
do.
milk.
I'll order milk at places you shouldn't even order milk. And my wife over here likes to make fun of me, don't you, Heidi?
I do.
We went to a bar one night, a whole group of friends. Everybody else was ordering, I'll have a rum and Coke, I'll have a beer with this, I'll have that, I'll have a gin and tonic. And they get to me, what would you like? I said, I'll have a glass of milk. And everybody started laughing at me. And then Heidi said, that's the most expensive thing on the menu.
Do you have any idea how expensive milk is at a bar? They don't sound like they stock it.
Oh, and I can tell you, I've had some terrible
Could
experiences.
have bought you 2 gallons for what we paid for that one.
They don't sell a lot of milk, folks. I've had milk that I'm like, ooh, this is probably not good.
Why
They're
you
like,
don't
oh, yeah,
order
this
milk
expired
at a
last
bar.
June. We should probably throw this away. All right. Coming up, Turtle Crossing. That's on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
When you're cruising down the road, you might see a sign once in a while, if you're in the right place, where you'll see something like, I don't know, pedestrian crossing, or you might even see cattle crossing or deer crossing. You've seen those kind of signs.
Oh, yeah.
In parts of Nebraska, there's a new sign that's going to start popping up for turtle crossing. There's a spot designated for turtle crossing at wildlife refuges in Nebraska, a park there, to preserve rare Branding's turtles. Officials in the north central Nebraska area have put up chain link fences to help herd them under Highway 83. The turtles can live up to 70 years, and they're listed nationally as a species of special concern, which means that they could be headed for extinction or endangered status. They're not there yet, but they can live up to 70 years or for about 5 minutes if they're too close to the highway. So,
Right.
we were driving down the road one time and saw a bunch of frogs hopping across the road. Mm-hmm. And
Well, you thought so.
I know I did. Yeah, and then she said, I don't believe you. So I slowed down, and then we didn't see another dang frog. I was like, have you seen that? Like the last 5 miles, we've been seeing frogs. She's like, those aren't frogs. So I slow down. I'm like, no. Look here, right here. See? Where are they? There's no frogs now. So I might have been dreaming that.
There have been several times, though, where we've seen a turtle trying to cross the road, and we stop the car
yeah.
and we move it to the other side.
Yeah, we pick him up and get him over there.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, we're going to help that little guy out because he's going to cause a problem otherwise. So there you go. Coming up, are you incompetent? Well, we're going to talk about that. Heidi, bad news for you. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
According to a recent study, if you're incompetent, you would be the last one to know it. That makes sense. A psychologist who studies incompetent people. How would you like that to be your job? What do you do for a living? I study incompetent people. You should actually stop by on Tuesday. Anyway, he says that they're the least likely to realize just how useless they really are.
Wow.
He reckons the skills needed for competency are the same ones needed to recognize that you have the skills. The findings may explain why people with a poor sense of humor insist on telling bad jokes. So this is starting to sound like me. Whoa. Dr.
I
David.
wasn't going to say anything.
Please help me here. Dr. David Dunning studies dozens of poor students, many of them confident in their abilities. Before reaching his conclusion, his assistant graduate student, Justin Kruger, says, not only do incompetents reach erroneous conclusions and make unfortunate choices, but their incompetence robs them of their ability to realize it.
Huh.
Now, I'm confused. Am I competent or not?
You're competent.
Do you think so?
Yes.
Well, this doctor doesn't think so. I don't know. That's kind of confusing. All right, coming your way here in a moment. Guess what we're going to do?
What are we going to do?
Talk about 5 ways to fight less and love more. It's on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Good news, folks. If you know people and you're going to be around them, the next 2 minutes could be important. I have 5 ways to fight less and love more. Sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is from Lori Pune, JD, author of Fight Less, Love More. Number 1, eliminate dumb factual arguments. You're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Bailouts, this, that, Obamacare, whatever. Any of that kind of stuff. Don't get in arguments about those things because nobody's going to win. You're both going to lose. And
Oh, no. I win.
you win. At
I
what
win.
cost? You lose a friend.
But they don't necessarily agree that I win.
Well, they say eliminate factual arguments. When you get into no, just don't. Just don't go there.
Oh.
Number 2.
Killing me, Smalls.
Number 2, avoid post-argument arguments. After a heated verbal exchange, you finally hear the priceless words, okay, you know what? That's fine. You agree. Whatever you do, don't lick your lips and say, okay, I'm tasting blood. I'm diving in for more. You know what? Now let's go back to the other point. Remember that thing we were talking about? Now that I've won this one. Number 3 on the list, reject the whatever word. Sometimes you're in a discussion.
So far, I've done all of
Somewhere
these.
out of the blue, Heidi will say, whatever, and walk away. Oh, it's not always Heidi. Sometimes, yeah, it's always Heidi. Don't do that. It's not going to help. Number 4 on the list of 5 things Heidi hates already. Engage, don't enrage. Your annoying motormouth mate, colleague, or friend desperately wants to persuade you, that he or she is right about an issue. They won't stop talking until you cave. They're saying, engage, don't enrage. So don't just stir things up just because you know which buttons to push. Although that can be fun. It's usually not a good idea.
No.
And then you find out just how comfy your sofa is. I'm just telling you. And then number 5 on the list of 5 ways to fight less and love more from the book, Fight Less, Love More. Orchestrate a perfect apology. As a matter of fact, I have mine typed out. It's in my wallet. I'm going to pull this out here and just read this to you. This is an all-purpose, works every time apology. Heidi, you are absolutely right. I am terribly sorry that what I said probably was wrong, and I won't think that way ever again. Please forgive me and my stupidness. I love you very much. Signed, your husband, John. Does that work?
Pretty much works for everything, yeah.
Right. No, what they're saying is I didn't really have... If you thought I really pulled that out of my pocket, you're wrong. I don't carry that around. I'm really bad at saying I'm wrong.
He's got it memorized now.
Yeah, I got it memorized. It says, make an intensive verbal gaffe. Well, you need to apologize. Come up with something better than just saying, I'm sorry. Come up with an actual apology. Apologize why you're sorry and what you did wrong. That is all from the book, Fight Less, Love More.
I actually do love that when we're arguing and I'm mad and you say you're sorry and I say, what are you sorry for? And you have no idea.
Like for the
That
thing that
me up.
The thing there that, the thing you're mad about. What am I mad about? I have no clue. This conversation went off the rails an hour ago.
And it's irritating.
Yeah.
It's so irritating when you know darn well when I'm mad.
Hey.
And you say, what's wrong? Why
What are you
upset?
mad about? Why are you
What's
upset?
the matter?
What's
I'm like,
going on?
are you kidding me?
You mean this thing we've been talking about for an hour? Get over it. All right. 5 ways to fight less and love more from the book, Fight Less, Love More. We've got good news on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
Oh, we always like to wrap things up on a positive note here, and here's one that we're going to try to wrap up with. For some of us, modern technology is just another frustrating thing to deal with that we have to try to figure out. But for others, it's not only a benefit, but a blessing. For the past few years, both academic study and evidence has pointed to how useful digital and mobile technology can be to help those with autism. Yes, autism. Samsung has created an educational app. It's a game designed to help kids with autism to help them make eye contact. The company worked in partnership with several organizations to develop an app aimed at teaching autistic children to better read a person's mood and to remember faces and to take photos of themselves exhibiting a range of emotions in different poses. It includes 7 interactive missions featuring a point system and various rewards, the sound rewards, visual effects, and all that to keep them motivated. And there's an app, so if you know someone with autism, you might want to check this out. It's a really cool thing. I have a link to all the information at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. So there you go. That is a really cool thing.
That is cool.
I know people who have members of their family that have autism, and it can be difficult because sometimes you'll get frustrated. You don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. Or like, hey, it's not that they want to do that. That's what they do. So here's an app that's going to help hopefully make some of that better. That is such a cool thing.
That is cool.
Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. We'll talk to you again next week.